After dark. Those are the lyrics. That's right. You know them. You love them. How's it going, everybody? It's Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Woo-hoo. Yeah.
We made it through 9 hours to the Oscars.
I didn't make it to the Oscars because I didn't watch it.
That makes two of us. I was watching Seinfeld.
Well, did everybody see the headline today? Suicide Squad actually contemplates actual suicide after Oscars.
Well, anyway, it's Midnight Edge After Dark. How's it going, everybody? Yeah. Post-Oscar wrap-up. For those who are fans of Jack Black,
right into it,
yeah. Rob Robot Shlomo. Yeah. Narrator Supreme from Shabby Road Studios. With me as always, Mr. Tom Connors.
Good evening.
And with us is Miss Mecca Random.
Hello.
And we have a special guest, don't we, Tom?
I'm not sure I'm that special.
Larry Bernard. Wow. Special enough. He's been on the show before, but he's a good friend of ours. Tell everybody who you are, Larry.
I'm Larry Bernard. You can catch me on two other shows, The Wilk Report with Michael Wilk, and I'm also on Recording in Progress with my buddy Jim Jesus. And I get the bigger stage here every so often, and I'm grateful to get to see a bigger audience.
Okay, Rob, you can get the shotgun down now.
Midnight Edge After Dark is filmed live before a live studio audience, but not really.
They did their job. Shotgun down. Be nice.
Well, they're live. Okay. They're just not in the studio.
Yes. How's it going, everybody? So okay. So, Tom, let's go over the Oscars.
Yeah, let's do that real quick. We're just gonna hit the major awards. We're not gonna go through everything, you know.
But what about best editing for a foreign language film under 55 minutes?
You know, I'm disappointed. I've still not received my Oscar for best uncredited appearance as an extra.
Oh, shit. Oh, so I suppose you want me to go through this.
Well, I don't have the story up. Oh, well, look, this is right up there. See? Best supporting actress. Right.
We got your best supporting actress. Regina King won. Let's go into some more important ones. These go in order. Of course they do. We don't want order. We wanted the most important ones. Best supporting actor was Mahershala. I knew I was going to screw this up. Mahershala Ali for Green Book. Rob, best animated feature. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Man.
Seriously, I've heard way better things about Isle of Dogs.
Oh yeah,
man, the audience is harsh today.
I don't like.
Not big fans of Into the Spider-Verse in the audience today.
That shouldn't have won. That was more popular, you know. That like Isle of Dogs was like the Oscars sort of movie. It was the dramatic-y,
but
you know, wasn't it?
It was culturally appropriating Japanese culture.
Well,
and that's a big no-no.
Well, they can go stuff it. Seriously though, that was more of like the more dramatic thing. Like it's a comic book cartoon movie.
But it pioneered a new animation style, which is going to become the go-to style for any Sony animated film going forward.
Though then I'm not going to watch any more Sony animated films.
Larry, you're not doing much to win the crowd over.
No, I'm not gonna. I didn't want to look at that animated thing, and I know that made you guys sick. I made a lot of people sick, from what I've heard. Even people who liked it.
Bargain basement, Wallace and Gromit, out of focus, out of.
That's gonna ruin the Sony movies. They were the ones I kind of liked. I know no one else likes Hotel Transylvania, but I liked them. I think they were Sony.
Yeah.
They were, but they have Adam Sandler in them.
Oh, yippee-doo.
All right, let's keep going.
Hey,
Yeah.
Infinity War got lost out in best visual effects.
Yeah.
To, First
what?
Man. I didn't watch that one. Was the effects really that good there?
I didn't see it.
Actually, I've heard good
No.
things, but I haven't seen it either. Yeah.
Nobody else did, apparently.
Best original screenplay was Green Book. Best adapted screenplay was Black Klansman. Best original score was Black Panther. Best original song was Shallow from Stars Born. Best actor, Rami Malek won for Bohemian Rhapsody. Best actress, Olivia Colman won for The Favorite. Best director, Alfonso Cuarón won for Roma. And best picture winner was Green Book and not Black Panther.
Well, the theater's never going to be Black Panther.
I wanted it to be Bo Rap or Black Panther. One or the other would have been
Bo Rap?
That's
Bo
the that's what they're calling it. That's what the kids are calling it. Rob.
I actually remember some kid calling it New Bohemian Rap when I was a little kid, and like it had just got really popular again because of Wayne's World.
When it went number one.
Yeah, like when it went to number one or something, like right when it came back with Wayne's World.
Yep.
Oh Lord, yeah. Spike Lee tried to storm out when Green Book won.
You know, he's pissed. He every time somebody's driving, basically every time a black man's driving somebody, Spike Lee loses an Oscar.
Well, you've heard that the folks on Twitter and social media are complaining about how Green Book is the kind of racist perspective on the Southern race struggle that Hollywood always loves, and it shouldn't have won.
Well, I don't have an issue with the movie's story per se overall is what it is, but I've heard the family of the people involved with that are the movie's about have said the movie was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, is it Harvey Weinstein didn't produce it, did he?
No.
We're not looking
No,
at
the only thing Harvey Weinstein produced was, well, I'm not going there.
I know, but this is a Weinstein-less Oscars, isn't it? This year,
About time, yeah.
We might get Weinstein next year though for the one with Kevin Hart and Brian. What's his face? Yeah, Bryan Cranston.
Did you see that picture of
The
Kevin
upside.
Hart? Supposedly it was Kevin Hart holding a gay flag somewhere. I'm like, did somebody just try to describe what Kevin Hart looked like on the phone to this guy who made it? I mean, really, of all the pictures of Kevin Hart that exist on the internet, that's the best you could do. Really? Okay, I don't want to say more about that.
Okay, let's get into some real news. What do you want to do first, Rob?
I don't know.
You want to talk
Should we-
Marvel? I know you do.
I do.
Do we?
Talk about Captain Flatass?
Captain SJW?
Badass. She's a hero.
Look, so I have a complicated personal relationship with the character of Carol Danvers. So my first real exposure to her was Avengers 200, which is a very, very unfortunate comic book. Very unfortunate, but ever since then I always had a sort of novel enjoyment of the character because I bought. It was a comic book about her where they retired her from the Avengers, and that led to really good, interesting things with her in the X-Men books.
When she was
But
binary.
yeah, she was binary for a while in the X-Men books. She had her soul stolen from her twice by Rogue. And
Rose really needs to learn to keep her hands to herself.
She does. And they've stripped everything interesting out of the character. So I have faith in the Marvel Cinematic Universe team that they're going to create a enjoyable movie. But I just really don't know what's going to be in the movie.
I think it's going to be generic. I think it's going to be very...
Well, you have more faith. We have a super chat? Where's the super chat?
It's said that Captain Whammon may rule box office here. Many will see due to insane love for S. Jackson and Fury. May match Ultron, maybe even Infinity. P.S. Translation of local ads. Last and only hope for Avengers, the greatest superhero of all arrives.
Fuck. Thank you so much for the $250 Hong Kong super chat. We have officially doubled the gross of Solo in China.
Well,
But
Larry,
if-
you're more hopeful about Captain Marvel than I am, because I we've learned recently that Kelly Sue DeConnick, the one who rewrote her backstory, or when that retconned the character, she consulted, quote unquote, on this movie. I said, "Oh no, that's not a good sign."
No, it's not. And if have you looked at the IMDb for the script writing team for Captain Marvel? There's
No, I
not a
haven't.
lot of depth
Mm-mm.
for the screenplay team. Like, you have Anna Boden, who I think is the lead screenwriter. She's done Captain Marvel and 3 independent movies, Sugar, Half Nelson, and It's Kind of a Funny Story.
Half
And-
Nelson, is it about wrestling? Or
And she's also co-directing. She's one of the directors, and Ryan Flex, another one who involved in writing it. He also co-directed those same 3 movies with her. And there's the lady who wrote the Laura Croft movie, and she's also going to be writing Dungeons and Dragons, Visionaries, Knights of Magical Light, the Silver Sable movie, which is announced but not on a schedule. Marion, I'm guessing it's a Maid Marian movie. Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command, and Artemis. Yeah,
Mask.
Marion is a Maid Marian movie starring Margot Robbie, it looks like. Is who they have planned to cast in it.
Did we already know that they were making a Mask movie?
Yes.
we did.
Okay.
Mass Crusader.
But unlike, the Dungeon-
fighting crime.
Yeah, unlike the Dungeons and Dragons movie, that actually has an announced date on it. All the other movies she has are like not on a schedule. So Captain Marvel will be her second movie she's written a script on.
So your
So-
second script
Okay.
is you're giving Captain Marvel for your second movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Nobody works their way up in Hollywood anymore.
No. And here's the thing. I don't think this movie's going to be terrible. I think it's going to be kind of generic. It's going to probably give a lot of nods to a lot of other things. It's going to have a lot of cliches, just like how just so out of date, even from the 90s, that whole let's show the boys how this is done. And that's even out of date in the 90s, sort of that attitude. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be
stale.
cringe. Yeah, I think it's gonna be very cringe, very stale is a great word for it. But I think people are still gonna go see it because Samuel L. Jackson and the cat. I think the cat almost sold me on the thing because I want to see what the cat does.
Yeah. We also see young Agent Coulson. He also got aged down.
Mm-hmm.
And Automata, no, it's a new Dungeons and Dragons movie, not the terrible one with Jeremy Irons in it. That Jeremy Irons' great acting in the terrible movie made the movie enjoyable.
Is it going to be based on the 80s cartoon?
I don't know. Let me double check and see if it says that. It should be. No, there's no teasers about it out yet. But it should be based on the old 80s cartoon.
Should be and are 2 different things. So let's get back on track here with even though we were still kind of talking about it. But yeah, now isn't there something going around where they're trying to blame this on bots?
Yes.
Well, I mean, if there's a poll down voting going on online, it's easy to blame it on bots.
Of course.
Because it takes forever to actually break it down and look the raw numbers.
Right.
That and, big companies who might own a portion of Rotten Tomatoes like Disney could, always employ their own bots to tip it the other way.
It's just those pesky misogynistic trolls now. It's those pesky misogyn like us, we're to blame. That's why the Captain Marvel want to see rating is tanking. It's all our fault.
And I hate girls.
But the other thing that I think is interesting is Brie Larson has made more on this movie than anybody else on their first Marvel movie. So if this doesn't make a whole lot of money, Do you think there's going to be somebody who's going to blame the fact that she was a little too greedy with her contract, at least on the back end with Marvel and Disney?
Well, what's the budget's what, $150 million?
I mean, that's pretty much what every Marvel movie is. Like
Yeah.
150, 175, unless it's like a barn burner like Avengers Infinity War.
So it's gonna have to make at least twice the amount of money to break even.
I think it probably will. It probably will. It's not going to
Yeah.
be a flop.
It's not. I think it's gonna. I think it'll do about 500 million, maybe at the very minimum. That's at the now. I'm talking low end. It's not gonna break it. It's not gonna break $1 billion.
No.
But they're focusing very much on trying to replicate the model that they had with Black Panther.
Movement marketing, as Gary over at Nerdrotic says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Mecca, you did something about this the other day. Like, wasn't there a story saying that there was only really 15 trolls doing this?
Yeah. Huffington Post reported that as many as 15 comments were removed from the trolling, just flat out racist, sexist trolling comments. 15.
Oh my God, that's hundreds and hundreds of dozens.
I know, and anytime you look, every time I've gone to Rotten Tomatoes for the want to see score, the only fake ones, bot ones, are positive, and they're obvious because they have like the percentage in the name because of the whatever coding error that they typos in coding or whatever. And all the others are like, yeah, Captain Marvel's made some pretty bad comments, and I don't feel welcome at this movie. And like, it just looks kind of meh. There's a lot of genuine, legit, fan feedback here of like, yeah, it kind of looks meh, it kind of looks boring. She's made some comments that are off-putting, and they keep attacking us. They keep saying, oh yeah, the YouTubers and the trolls and all these things. The YouTubers are reporting on Brie Larson's comments, and it's their fault that trolls are going and downvoting this movie. It's not a popularity contest, And they're saying, oh yeah, they're bombing it with reviews before the movie's out. Well, no, they're bombing it with the want to see section. And they're making a judgment based on what we've seen. And the marketing of this movie is, we need a hero with her outlined. Let's show these boys how it's done, And now the new marketing, there's a new article I was going to make a video on today. How they're just making it, she doesn't need a male relationship, she needs female friendships. So they're really, really downplaying men in this, and yeah, that's the marketing that's leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
It's friends and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Chris Persia, $5 Canadian super chat. Woohoo! Maple syrup time. In alfalfa voice, is it time for the next meeting of the He-Man Woman Haters Club? I don't think so.
But I think
poor alfalfa died so young.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So she's saying, hey, we need to make an A-Force movie. So let's say that this movie only makes in the $500 to $650 million range. Do you think they're going to make an A-Force movie for Captain Marvel?
No.
Now, if this makes 750 to $1 billion, then that might be on the table.
Might. Yeah.
I mean, if it makes over $1 billion, it probably is going to be on the table.
Yeah, it will be on the table because Black Widow is that's a go as far as we know.
But they're not going to make an R-rated movie, which I'm concerned because I'm not sure how you can do a good Natasha story without it being R-rated.
Well, that does remind me that Kevin Feige did say today that the Loki and other series that are going to be on Disney Plus or whatever are going to be related to the Marvel movies, obviously. But they're not going to have that separation like the Netflix ones did.
But is it going to be separate like the ABC ones were briefly?
Not that I know. As far as it sounds, they're going to be like direct. Like basically, I'm assuming because a lot of them are limited series. I'm assuming,
of course.
Oh shit!
I'm assuming they're just going to be like. That's all right. I'm assuming they're just going to be like movies cut up into series, basically.
Well, the ABC ones. I mean, Agent Carter really was the only. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started that way.
Well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was one of those that the movies affected Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. never affected the movie outside of one time.
Yeah.
And that was the Helicarrier and Captain America. Not First Avenger. Winter Soldier. Jesus Christ.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know that in the movie, other than he says, "Like, old friend was hanging on to it for me," or something like that. And of course, if you watched Shield the week before,
Yeah.
it's cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway.
So yeah, what does this mean? Okay, because I've been kind of quiet about this. You know, whatever. You could blame it on trolls, but when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, we always say definitely take that with a big old grain of salt, like Rushmore size grain of salt, because Rotten Tomatoes is just an aggregator overall. Now, this audience thing, it's not like it's a little different when you have like a star rating or a number rating, because you're going to have a buttload of people that are going to give it a 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and you got another buttload of people going 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You know, so that kind of evens itself out in a way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this audience anticipation, how can you blame that on trolls unless they're creating fake accounts? In which case, I don't know. I don't buy that. I think, and it's more than obvious, what happened here. No matter how you feel, enough people were affected by Bree's statement, and they got very turned off by it. Men and women, not just white men.
And she's just very off-putting herself too. I mean, so
I would say
like
I don't think she's one of those actresses who's very outgoing and gregarious in their personality. I don't think that comes naturally to her. I think she's probably somebody who, if you were actually working with her, she'd be a lot more friendly and open, but I don't think she's good at the talking and selling herself to the media.
No, she said herself that she's I think she's introverted, very shy, socially awkward, and she's acting to like to figure out how to do like eye contact stuff. So she's acting when she is talking in public. You can kind of clearly see that.
When you homeschool your kids sometimes, you know, you do shit. I have
Mm-hmm.
nothing against homeschooling, but if you're going to make them sheltered, that kind of shit's going to happen. And
oh boy, another super chat. Timon Flip, $10 Brazilian. Hey, love you guys. What kind of money does Captain Marvel have to do to that Brie Larson gets Edward Norton? I'd say under 300 million.
Yeah.
I'd say yeah.
If it opens at like 60, and yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah. If it does under between 350 and 300 million, then Kevin Feige introduces the X-Men and they put Brie Larson into a coma. And Rogue puts her into a coma, and then you have 7 more movies where just Nick Fury sits over her hospital bed waiting for her to wake up. Yeah. I keep saying Yvonne Strahovski. Yvonne is so much hotter, and not by a little.
Well, because didn't this number like tank during the day today? Because didn't it start in the 30s this morning?
Yeah.
And also,
we're gonna go with it. Just says the 30s, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Larry.
Has Brie Larson ever been the main focal point of a movie that's done well? All the movies I can think of that she's been in that's done well, there were other bigger stars around her.
Usually,
Kong Skull Island had Samuel L. Jackson to carry her again.
And Kong.
Yeah, and Kong. And
wasn't
Middlestead,
what's his face, Riley in there? In Kong Skull Island too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, John C. Reilly was in there.
Charles Nelson Riley was in it, yes. That damn Kong. He's silly crazy.
That was a good movie. I need to rewatch that.
Where's my
just like I keep harping on it, but right there. Oh yeah. There you go. Oh, hey, how you doing, baby? Ooh, yeah. There you go. I got your Carol Danvers right here.
Well, she looks like she has something going on inside of her brain too. She looks like she's up to something. She's thinking in a good way, and in like an intriguing way. Like, what do you got planned? What's going on?
Whatever. You're mentally undressing her right now.
A little.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah.
No, I meant Mecha Rob, but I know you are. That's not. And by the way, Rob, By the way, Rob, when it comes to
Yeah.
quicksand porn, Andre says you're a
Yeah.
sick individual.
Thank you.
I made him
always
look
knew
it
that.
up.
I always knew that, but it's nice to get confirmation.
Nah, I made him look at some quicksand porn today. I'm like,
Like it's
proves you don't listen to the podcast that much because we bring it up all the time.
I really need to have a word with Rob. He needs help. He does need some help. but
And,
like, I mean, it's just like just saying, like, I just want to keep this up here. Oh yeah, hey, how you doing? Yeah.
And what do you think about how they had to call in Captain Marvel to try to save Captain Marvel?
Giggity, giggity, giggity. Giggity, 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 giggity.
Wait, say that again.
How they had to call in Captain Marvel to save Captain Marvel from the Captain Marvel movie that's being called Shazam?
Yeah. Well,
Oh, the tweet
didn't they
from
settle that years ago though? Hasn't it been that way for a while?
no,
Well,
the
no.
tweet from Zachary Taylor or
Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi. That's it.
Yeah, he was just saying, "Hey guys, maybe we could tune that down a little bit. There's all been fun and games and joking, but let's calm it down."
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I had to stop screen sharing. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. Anyway, I'm done with talking about Captain Marvel. You guys done?
Yeah.
Who likes Gremlins? I like Gremlins. I love Gremlins. You like
Aw.
Gremlins?
Gremlins is one of
look
my
at
favorite
face.
warm childhood memory movies.
Now I remember because I'm a huge fucking Gremlins fan. When Gremlins 2 was announced, I was like so fucking jazzed. And I bought the 50th anniversary magazine of Warner Brothers at the time it came out that year. And in that magazine, they had a full page splash poster of Gremlins 2. And then inside they talk about Tiny Toons because it hadn't come out yet. They were talking about the premiere because they had this deal with Amblin and Spielberg for animation. So they're going to do Tiny Toons and they were going to do a Gremlins series. For some reason, the Gremlins series disappeared. And I think the reason is because Gremlins 2 didn't do as well as they were hoping, obviously. But now I get my goddamn Gremlins cartoon. This is going to make me get the thing. This is going to make me get that Warner Brothers online. Rob, tell us what we're going to get here.
Yes. Gizmo, Mr. Wing will lead all new Gremlins animated series. For those of us who remember a youth tinged with vague threat of finding a feasting gremlin in our kitchens, there is good news. We might get a chance to pass that trauma down to today's young, impressionable audience. Per Variety, a Gremlins series is in development for Warner Media upcoming, yet to be titled streaming service. I still can't believe there's going to be a Warner Media streaming service. Well, anyway, produced by Warner Brothers Television and Amblin Television, the series will follow a young Mr. Wing as he embarks on adventures with his friendly Mogwai Gizmo. There isn't much more information. There isn't much more information regarding the premise or the tone just yet. But with Seichun, whose TV credits include Gotham and Once Upon a Time, attached to write and executive produce, the potential for a darker show is still there. First Gremlins film was released in 1984, yada, 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 boff of success, sequel, lead, sustained fingerprint of pop culture. It also led to pretty amazing anti-substance teen PSA for teens. They used tween. You didn't need to put teen twice.
They put that instead of leading to the PG-13 rating? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Wing Gizmo starring Wizard of Game.
Don't forget Hulk Hogan also had to threaten the Gremlins so that we could watch the rest of the movie. Don't forget that.
I love that.
Loves Rock and Ricky. Rock and Ricky is still on the air, man.
Still on the air.
Rock and Ricky, there's these little green guys. Hey, man, this is Christmas, not Halloween. Hey, what's that? Rock and Ricky fans? Hey, you're not Rock and Ricky fans.
Listen, guys, I'm sick of all this Orson Welles crap. Cool it, will you? What's that? Those Rock and Ricky fans?
Screaming Steve. That's that guy played Screaming. Always plays a DJ, that guy.
Well, doesn't he play the same character in both the Howling and Gremlins, I believe?
I think
so. Or is that the reporter?
I didn't see the Howling.
It's either the reporter or him. I can't remember now. They play the same character. I can't remember. God darn it.
That's what IMDb is for.
I
Yes, it
know,
is.
but I'm freaking lazy and it takes bandwidth, and then I start
He was
sounding like
also-
underwater.
He was also in Ron Howard's first movie, Grand Theft Auto. I've brought this up as.
Oh wait. That was one of his movies with Roger Corman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at that son of a bitch drive.
So this is
the
going to be a
Gremlins series.
sequel? Okay.
Yeah. Young Mr. Wing. Gremlins series was part of an effort to bring more in-house properties to the current audiences via new content. During the recent TCA Television Critics Association Winder Press Tour, Turner's chief creative officer Kevin Riley subtly hinted that certain crown jewels of Warner will also eventually make their way to the Warner Media streaming service. No names were named, but we can guess that Friends will be among those prize properties.
Well, I won't be there for them.
No, I certainly won't be there for them either. Unless the determined folks and the Netflix decide to shell out another ungodly amount to keep it in their clutches. Please, I wish Friends would go away. I said Sunday was a Sunday that you can watch. I can watch Star Trek: The Next Generation all day long, all day. But I refuse to watch Friends. I absolutely refuse.
I could watch Seinfeld all day long.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like Friends when it came out. I'm probably the only person who doesn't like it.
No, you're not.
No, I
watched
can't.
a couple seasons. But then
I
it's just
tried.
Like,
yeah. I tried because everybody liked it, and it was just like, this is just not my bag, baby.
And so who's next going to be creating a unnecessary additional streaming service after Warner creates theirs?
NBC.
NBC, yeah, NBC.
Universal.
I think
Yeah.
NBC Universal's already working on it.
Yeah, they are.
Comcast, yeah.
Can we stop with all these streaming services? Because I have a couple of them, and there's barely anything on. I have Amazon, I have Netflix, and I have Verve, which aggregates like 4 or 5 other streaming services, and there's barely anything to watch on any of them.
That's true. There's like I have Netflix and Hulu, and I barely watch it. Like I never watch Netflix. Once in a blue moon, I'll be like, I want to watch like 5 stand-up specials.
Well,
But
I mean,
Hulu, I like having the option of going back and watching South Park and like Hell's Kitchen stuff. But
actually, though, I watched Umbrella Academy, which is pretty good on Netflix recently.
Did they bring Hulu back? Did they bring SNL back to Hulu or not?
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't even logged into Hulu in like 3 or 4 months.
What about Hulu?
SNL.
I think they just have some of the newer ones, and that's it. I'd have to look again.
Yeah.
They don't have the old ones anymore. That I know.
Yeah. So I was gonna get Hulu at a time when they had SNL because I wanted to see the one where Terry Garr was host in 1984 with Joe Piscopo.
Oh.
And they had a sketch with Joe Piscopo. I think Eddie Murphy had left by then. Well, anyways, they had a sketch, the real story. Tim Kazurinsky was sitting in a chair. And now for the real story. We all know how Lincoln was shot at Ford's Theater, but you don't know are the events that led up to his shooting. And now a reenactment of the real story. And he's just got like popcorn and soda and candy. He's just being obnoxious. He's like, Mr. President, this young lady who's playing the actress, she's the Rave of all Washington. Oh yeah, he gets the binoculars. Oh yeah, you tell him, honey. Oh yeah, sir, I would like you to be quiet. And he spills soda on the guy in front of him. Oh, sorry, pal. Hey, send me the cleaning bill. You can send it to my Gettysburg address. Sir, we're trying to enjoy the performance. Hey, pal, what do? You come over and shoot me, huh? Is that what you're gonna do? He's just all, oh man, it was one of the funniest sketches I've ever seen, and you can't find it anywhere. What?
I should actually remember that one. I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mary Gross is Mary Todd Lincoln. Oh, Abraham, you're frisky, aren't you? Yeah, like it was just like a obnoxious theater goer. That was great. So
All right. So I think we scattered off on Gremlins. What else was there in the news? That Star Wars crap? Did we want to talk about that?
Oh, Star Wars. Do we care anymore?
no, we
Well,
don't.
Well, it appears that Captain Marvel wasn't the only movie to get bombed today.
episode
That's how,
9.
and that's how
Danger.
exactly I'm gonna time index this Thomas Star Wars crap. So it's exactly
Episode
how
9, still not named yet.
mystery box.
Mystery box.
Oh, wait,
Mystery
hold on.
Box Theater.
Yeah, Mystery Box Theater.
Meanwhile, nobody cares about Ryan Johnson trilogy.
Well, allegedly, there's a production company set up for it. So it could maybe kind of possibly happen.
What the hell?
No. Are they stupid? But that will bomb so hard with what happened to The Last Jedi.
And I saw somewhere that they're saying it's going to be a G-rated trilogy.
Why?
So I'm guessing that means he's going to remake the Ewok movies.
Oh, he
Tom?
better not. He had better not.
Tom, you know what to do, Tom. You know what to
Oh,
do.
boy.
Oh, he had better not touch my Ewoks. I mean, I'll forgive him if it's a Porg movie. I'll watch it. Don't touch my Ewoks because
Tom,
he can do. He created the Porg.
Right now, I'll pound you.
Tom.
Ow!
Ryan Johnson's not happy.
Ow! Ow! Damn it, stop hitting me! Stop it, Dodo! Damn it, now you piss me off!
All right, that's enough. What were you saying, Mecca, about the?
That was the butt liquor!
If we get like a G-rated Porg trilogy, that would be okay. Since he actually did give us the Porgs, I do kind of have to give him one little bit of credit for creating the cutest things ever, the Porgs. But man, don't ruin the Ewoks, please. Don't ruin the Ewoks. Here's the thing: if he does do a Porg sort of movie, and he even turns them into cannibalistic, terrifying creatures, I think I can forgive it because they're his thing, I guess. But if he goes in and touches anything else, I'm gonna be not happy.
Yeah, somebody in chat just asked if there's any Star Trek news. I'm trying to look up something.
There was the Picard series news.
It's totally going to happen, you guys.
Yeah,
They're
and it's gonna
totally making it.
Well, the news that I had found was he's Patrick Stewart gave an interview saying, yes, please binge watch this series, but it's released week to week. So basically, you're saying don't sign up for CBS All Access, watch it after the fact, give it no ratings.
I don't think Sir Patrick knows about how CBS All Access works because he has better things to do with his time.
I know, but that's just hilarious. It's like, this is dead on arrival, probably, in my opinion.
How dare you talk to me that way, you third-rate tart!
There's really no new Star Trek news. I mean,
it's so dead that they don't even talk about it anymore. Last week I was talking about the toys and stuff and all these discontinued products that they don't have coming for Discovery, all the merchandise that's not there anymore, because they didn't even bother giving any news about those episodes. Like it was 3 or 4 days of no news about that new upcoming episode, and that's fine because it was super boring and bland. But
I mean, I don't really understand what they're trying to achieve anymore with the direction of the show. I mean, I got an article where it says that J.J. Abrams is suddenly being nice to the people who hate The Last Jedi. I'm trying to get that pulled up here. It's from an IndieWire interview. Wait a second here. Come on. Why do people do this? Why do they cite a an interview decided by somebody else's site, and instead of just going straight to the actual original source.
That's news for you. What do you think we're doing?
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, I want to save save my thing, my time.
That's drop shit.
So, Kate Erbland of IndieWire reports, as he prepares to get back into the Star Wars universe, the filmmaker gets honest about fan criticism of the Last Jedi and how it won't impact his next feature. As he prepares to re-enter the Star Wars universe with his upcoming and still untitled Episode 9, Force Awakens director J.J. Abrams is unbothered by recent backlash to the diversity of Star Wars The Last Jedi. That's by IndieWire about pushback for Star Wars fans who decried Rian Johnson's film or its focus on more female-centric stories. No, that's not what happened. Abrams was clear their problem isn't the Star Wars, their problem is being threatened. IndieWire reported in December. Yeah, here we go. If you're someone who feels threatened, where's the actual good quote here? Here we go. Asked if fan outcry would do that. Trying to find something good here to stir up the content a little bit. Oh, here we go. Abram continues, I can see why people get freaked out by it, but people who are getting freaked out are the people who are accustomed to that privilege. Okay, so that's not a good article to go with. Yeah. I was trying to find something there.
We'll forgive you. All right, so what else is going on here, folks, other than, I don't know. We had talked about the Marvel series, the Loki thing is happening. What else is going on? Anything good?
I saw the Umbrella Academy, which is something actually a very good show based off a comic book that they have on Netflix, and Netflix is going to start rolling out a whole series of movies and shows based on Mark Millar comic books that Netflix hired him to basically make comic books that they can convert into movies and TV shows. Though the Umbrella Academy was made by Gerald Ray from My Chemical Romance. So Netflix is making its own comic book industry to try to compete with Marvel. Though it's not trying to actually sell comic books more than create comic books that are convertible into movies.
Right.
I remember My Chemical Romance.
I kind of do. I can't place any of their songs though.
Cowboy Bebop starts filming in July. I found that out.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, I think the live action Cowboy Bebop may finally be the actual solid live action Western adaptation of an anime. Although Alita was very close.
Well, you're not looking forward to I don't know what we're looking forward to anymore. I don't know. I only found one bit of Star Trek news. Screen Rant is giddy that the Kelpian conflict references multiple TOS episodes. Multiple TOS references. So.
I don't even remember hearing the TOS references. It was so boring. I just tuned out that whole episode.
You see, here's the problem with they're making an episode about the Kelpians. They're more interesting having that information slowly poured out, like they're doing on the Orville with the Mocklins. You know, putting too much of that stuff right away, that's a problem. That's, going to kill the buzz that they have with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, now they're making like everybody into superheroes with that show. They went from the only interesting thing about him, he was a prey species, to now he's the predator with these porcupine quill. It's so ridiculous. It's like, this is Star Trek now. Really? This is Star Trek now?
Yeah, well, it's not Star Trek. We all know it's not Star Trek. That's the thing.
Oh, Beverly Owen died. The original Marilyn from the Munsters.
Oh, wow.
Oh. That's unfortunate. Ezra Miller apparently has been announcing things about the Flash movie. They've actually had, shots from, the actual filming. So Apparently, the Flash movie is actually going to happen.
Nobody cares. Mark Lerseth. Everyone needs their participation award in STD. Yeah, that's what it's down to. Yeah.
They have to be all superheroes now, or else they're not interesting. They're overly competent. Like, I just like seeing realistic levels of competency in characters. Nothing like gross incompetence like we see from Michael Burnham. None of that, oh, now she's a superhero that we see from Michael Burnham. No, I don't like any of it. Just give me a normal person with realistic flaws and behaviors and characteristics.
I can't do that because everybody's special. Don't you know that?
But they're not.
Like Community says, Jeff, you're special, Jeff. You're so special. You can do anything. He goes, you're good at. Then it became, you're good at just enough things to be average, like everybody else. I don't understand. Like, so, well, we can turn this into a Star Trek Discovery complaint fest, but just with the Orville. And by the way, that story that was on the Midnight's Edge Facebook group about the Orville being renewed for season 3, that has not been picked up anywhere else, and that dated back to December. So it's fake news, total fake news. Now, so if it was renewed, it would be reported by a bunch of other outlets. So. But yeah, it's like the Orville has just totally supplanted Star Trek. The Orville is our Star Trek now with this last episode.
And yeah. I think the Orville's gonna be renewed because it's gonna take a while before the new Disney conversion to Fox happens, and Seth MacFarlane's producing 3 shows for them. They're gonna.
Go ahead.
They're not going to cut any of those shows until they get a healthy balance with the new shows that they're going to do. Like, they have these terrible game shows, like the one Rob Lowe's going to be doing, where you have to ask questions while you're being spun around by the centrifugal force machine.
Well, the Simpsons has already been renewed.
Yeah.
So, seasons 31 and 32. Everyone's saying, Simpsons is going to be canceled. Yeah, Simpsons totally going to be canceled. Gabby told me, Simpsons got renewed for 31, 30, season 31, 32. They should have canceled it. I'm like, yeah, they're going to keep it going. Simpsons merchandise is enough just to keep it going, really.
It's like Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live has been a zombie for years, but it's too profitable.
It's an institution, is what it is.
Yeah.
Simpsons is an institution. Family Guy is becoming an institution as well. And and with Seth MacFarlane attached to it, like I said, they're gonna, even if they does get canceled, somebody else will. The Family Guy will just shift over to TBS or something. I don't. Yeah, just kind of like American Dad did. But yeah. Are you kidding? Just like I said, just the merchandise alone for the Simpsons is enough to keep it going. But it's this weird kind of thing now, though. Well, of course, all the cool kids hate the Simpsons because it's cool. It's cool to hate the Simpsons because they are the establishment. Simpsons is sort of the establishment of Fox Television. Who owns TBS?
TBS is owned by Time Warner.
Time Warner, yeah.
Comcast.
Ted Turner, and then he sold out to Warner or whatever, got taken over, actually, whatever.
Like Warner AOL or something like that.
Yeah, back in the day. But here's a question I have. What do you guys think? Do you think if Battle Angel Alita makes enough money in China to be modestly profitable, do you think Disney lets James Cameron make another one under the new Fox shingle at Disney?
I think it's possible. I think it'd probably do pretty well in China.
It seems to be doing okay right now. But the other question I have is, if it doesn't do that well, do you think James Cameron might just go to someone like Sony or one of the big Chinese studios and saying, hey, look, I want to put this production together and try to make it work better in the States.
I wouldn't know who actually technically owns all the rights to it though, because remember it was licensed from a manga.
Yeah, but I think James Cameron owns the license rights.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anything is possible. So what's
With that budget, it has to do quite a bit, and it basically it's done 200 so far overseas.
It's got to at least pull in another 261. It's got a ways to go.
And they did a buttload of reshoots too, and I don't know if that's reflected in the budget.
She's too sexualized. Oh my god!
Didn't they redo her entire CGI because something about in a test screening people were complaining about how she looked or something, so they changed it.
I don't remember.
I don't think they did for Lita.
No, I thought that was the whole reason that they had to delay it. Let me look and see if I can find that.
Because as much as I hate the idea of remaking things and making live action versions of cartoons that were pretty good, I really think that it's a good idea to have a live action anime remake that kind of recontextualizes elements of it into a Western setting. But the how is the thing.
Well, you're gonna have people complain anyway. I mean, just because cultural appropriation, and whitewashing, and we're changing everybody. So, there's gonna be no satisfying some people, but at the same time, like I said, anime. I don't think anime's ever, and I've always thought to myself about this question. I don't think anime's ever really gonna be a major cultural force.
Wait a generation, maybe wait a generation.
Yeah. I mean, the Broly movie did pretty good business. It shocked a lot of people how well it did.
Yeah. Well, outside of Dragon Ball, I don't think it's gonna do. I don't think it's gonna be. But Dragon Ball's kind of made for people who have ADD anyway. Lots of screaming, lots of explosions. Guys running. Pretty much, Man of Steel was pretty much a Dragon Ball movie, wasn't it? With all the the run-ups and bouncing off each other.
Oh, that's a very fair criticism of Man of Steel.
Yeah, I found it here. They fixed the eyes because people didn't like her eyes, and they're still complaining about them now. But
the eyes didn't bother me that much.
That's been a complaint I've heard about anime since the 80s, and the fact that we still can't get past that is really saying something. How come their eyes are so big? And I was explaining because when Japanese audiences first saw Bambi, they liked the big expressionful eyes, and so they've always mimicked that.
I want to say there was also something else, like either about her figure or her hips or something like that.
Well, they're saying when she changed her appearance to reflect her inner sense of self, she changed how she physically looked.
No, but like what I was saying was because remember the movie was supposed to be out in July, and it got pushed back. Between the eyes and I think whatever it was, I can't remember. I couldn't find the article I was looking for, but I read about it, and that was the whole reason for the pushback. Is they, after a test screening, went back and fixed all this stuff digitally about her that people didn't like.
Wouldn't it make sense though if she's she's a cyborg, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a cyborg.
She's been designed for fighting. Wouldn't it make sense that she has bigger eyes to give her a better field of vision?
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see more. Exactly.
Well, what I was just reading, they said that the original eyes looked more like Bratz eyes, like the Bratz dolls.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And I guess you can still see some shots in some of the earlier trailers, according to what I was reading here, too.
But also, how did they get Edward Norton to go into full makeup and costume to not say anything?
Did they?
Yeah, Edward Norton was the villain.
Paid him a bunch. Who knows?
Maybe he was just a character he was interested in. I don't know.
Isn't Mears like Edward Norton, our generation's Richard Dreyfuss? Or
No,
not
Richard Dreyfuss seems more
not
likable.
Dreyfuss. Sorry, no, not Richard. Dustin Hoffman. That's
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman. Yes, yeah. I think that's how I pictured
But-
when you said Richard.
But there's Dustin
That's
Hoffman
fine,
movies that I actually really liked.
Oh,
There's not
I
really
like
Edward.
too, but
There's not really an Edward Norton movie that I like. Go, man, Edward Norton was really great in this movie.
Rounders was he was really good in that.
People love Fight Club.
I was gonna say
Fight
people love
Club.
Fight Club. I'm not a fan of Fight Club, but I got to give him props on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he reminds me of Richard. God damn, I did it again. Dustin Hoffman with the way that he's supposed to be this very difficult actor to work with. And I everything I've heard about him is very similar.
Excuse me, I have to release my unplanned co-host one more.
Is that your kitty cat? I thought that was
Yeah,
your
it is.
phone at first. Seriously. Thought he
Sabu
was
has a friend.
Aw.
Oh,
Aren't you a good kitty? Aren't you a good kitty? Yes, you are. You're a good kitty. A buddy of mine has 2 cats. He says he told me, he says it's a good thing that cats evolved the way they did, because if cats were the size of like dogs, like German shepherds, they'd probably eat us.
Probably.
hell yeah, they would. My cat
your
doesn't love me.
Yeah, he was asleep for most of the show, and he finally said, I went out.
Cats are. Why do you think my cat's name is Asshole? There's a reason. It's not like it's just their personality. Cats will go up, sit right in front of you, to their back to you, to let you know they are ignoring you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, if you they, like I said, they will just plop in front. If you're doing something, God forbid you're doing something, they will plop in front of you. It says,
That's what you're thinking, yeah.
time for you to take a break. Pay attention to me, because it's all about them.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got?
Do you think Shazam is going to bring in the tiger person from the comic books?
Shazam! Where's my echo chamber? Shazam!
Yeah, you need to get a metal trash can next to you. Go into it.
Shazam! Oh, I got a water bottle. Shazam!
A little bit there.
Yeah.
Okay. Shazam! Okay.
Now you sound like Gomer Pyle. Shazam!
Hey, what happened?
And don't forget, Elvis Presley was also influenced by Captain Marvel, aka Shazam.
He was Shazam.
That's why he had the big lightning bolt necklace.
Jeez. Elvis.
Wasn't that his inspiration for the cape thing too?
Yep.
Oh man, I'll tell you. Every time I read that Shazam comic book, I want a peanut butter banana sandwich.
Oh no, Elvis was old enough. He read the Fawcett comic book.
Well, we gotta win this race. Elvis wants lemonade.
Lemonade.
Lemonade. A cool, refreshing drink.
Elvis was cool, man. That was cool. He didn't even have to act. He just sang his lines. That's all he did.
Fuck it. Sing on his dialogue.
We gotta win this race. We gotta win this race.
Elvis wants lemonade.
I mean, we could talk about Fighting with My Family, which
yeah, you saw that.
Okay, so yeah.
It's a biopic about Paige that was loosely based off of a documentary about her family, but The Rock decided he wanted to really get this movie made, and so it's like a bunch of interesting pseudo-documentary movie scenes, and then hey, here's The Rock being the magic, charming Dwayne Johnson who gives her key advice and key help at key points in her career. And they made Vince Vaughn play an amalgamation of 2 people accused of sexual and physical assault of people in the WWE training facility. But of course, they
Really?
didn't add that into Vince Vaughn's character. I'm guessing Vince Vaughn was made an amalgam of those people, so they didn't have to talk about that. But one of the things I found fascinating, they actually showed how wrestlers do the scripted actions of a set in a match in the independent shows, but they didn't talk about it any in the WWE ring. They kept that level of mystery in the story.
Really? Wow. They yeah. But who's this? Who's Nick Frost is in the movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. Nick Frost. Who plays the main characters? Anybody?
Give me a second. Let me pull up the IMDb. Because you can't remember those things anymore because the internet just makes it so easy for you to not remember it.
That's right.
You're fired.
So the main character is played by Florence Pugh. Lena Headey plays the mom. Nick Frost plays the dad of the family. Dwayne The Rock Johnson plays Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Zach Loudon plays the brother. A whole lot of,
Wouldn't that be funny if next year The Rock wins an Oscar for playing The Rock?
That would be brilliant.
I used to love Lena Headey. I used to love Lena Headey in the in Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Giggity, 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 giggity.
And what was the other thing? I had a thought there for a moment. It just blanked out on me.
Oops, sorry.
Hey, when that happens.
I have that effect on people.
But yeah, it was fun, but there wasn't anything that really stood out. The whole thing was, it's not an awful WWE movie. It's like schmaltzy, and a little bit too much sugar mixed in, but you get over it.
That's a low bar. Not a horrible WWE movie.
Yeah.
Oh man, didn't they make that other movie about Bruce Lee?
Yeah, the bait and switch movie about Bruce Lee. Like, we're going to talk about this legendary fight of Bruce Lee and make you think the entire movie is about it in the trailers, but when you get there, it's about some white guy who's a student of Bruce Lee who's trying to save his girlfriend from sex slavery with the Chinese mafia in San Francisco.
Yeah, that fight was actually portrayed very well in Dragon the Bruce Lee story.
Yeah.
I have that movie on Blu-ray. I actually like that one. That one's really good.
That is a good movie. And actually, and rather than I don't know who the black guy was, but it was actually Linda Lee that was actually present at that fight. She was there. She
also, I remember the other thing I said, Olivia Colman won an Oscar. It's something we didn't think about the Oscars, and she could have been Doctor Who.
I wanted her to be Doctor Who. She was the one I was rooting for.
Yeah, just think about that. Olivia Colman, the BBC could have had an Oscar-winning actor.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think she got the better end of the deal. She ended up getting an Oscar instead of getting kind of being known as the token woman doctor on the worst written series ever of Doctor Who, in my opinion, anyway.
Oh, you don't think she did well with Chris Chibballs as running?
I think she would have been fine, but it's just the writing that's terrible. I mean, she would have been much better. She would have been much more entertaining.
I think Jodie Whittaker could have done a lot better if there was anything for her to work with.
Yep.
All the actors could have done better. None of the actors had anything to work with because, the production was low energy.
Mm-hmm. It's very lazy elementary school writing, again.
But you see, the thing is, the laziest things, the simplest things, befuddled them. Like the monster who killed the mother of the family in the first episode gets faced in the final episode, and you have people going through grief. So that's the point where they enter the final stage of grief is when they have that final confrontation with the tooth monster guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like really basic writing stuff that they didn't have any sense to do.
No.
It just wasn't very good.
So anyway, someone said we say so anyway too far too much on the show. So
yeah, you and I say it all the time. That's why.
it's a comedy it's a comedy segue. So
Well,
anyway,
I used to saying it all the time because of a kid. My kid, it's like, because they'll sit there and be going, and then this, and then and that, and it's like, yeah. So anyway, we're supposed to be doing this right now, kind of thing.
Yeah. What else?
Oh yeah, I remember this. We're gonna get a copyright strike, but I just don't give a shit. They had Mike Myers and Dana Carvey on the fucking Oscars together last night.
Well, we have to talk over it to make it transformative.
Exactly. Rob, can you make some fat bastard jokes over it?
I gotta make some fat bastard jokes.
ABC's gonna hit us with the video. So.
Oh, the ABC, not a bunch of wankers. They got sawed off.
I mean, this is the highlight last night. I love this.
Yes. Well, let's pause it right now, yeah. So you can see, and we can point out stuff. Damn, these guys have gotten old. Holy crap!
Oh my god!
I don't give a fuck. I still want to see a Wayne's World 3.
Yeah,
I want to see Wayne's World 3 too.
Anything.
I mean, we're getting a Bill and Ted 3. I have no idea.
I'm fine with
why.
that because we need it. Damn it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, every Bill and Ted movie starts off with they haven't gotten their band together right. And they always get their band together right at the end of the movie. How do they keep, undoing their band?
The second one they did. I remember. Okay, I remember this. This movie's been kicking around for a while, and I've been such a huge Bill and Ted fan. I followed it for so long. The original script is, if they're still following it, from what I heard, was something happened in the future, and this will explain why Rufus is missing, and somebody stopped them from saving the world by creating, the world's greatest band and all that kind of shit. So something happened in the timeline, then they got to go back and fix it, kind of thing, or go forward and fix it with their kids or their grandkids. I can't remember which.
I think
they have
kids.
I'm not sure, because I think it's their granddaughters, because they had boys in the original movie, and their boys would be older by now, and I think their grandkids would be roughly teenage age, the age they were in the first movie. So I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
I hope this isn't a problem, old chum.
It probably will be their kids, but if they retcon them and make them girls, I'm going to be pissed, because they were boys in the fucking first movie, or second movie, I mean. But anyway.
Sound, damn it. That's supposed to be how curious. Okay, well, anyway, yeah. But anyway, like I said, we got to be transformative whenever we use a clip.
Yeah.
Did we get it last time? Did we get a copyright strike?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, screw them.
So I shall not hurl.
Shall not hurl. Yeah, right there. See, so we're making it transformative.
Hey, we can listen to it at least here.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of look like they've had like a little strokey look in their face.
Well, Dana Carvey actually had heart surgery a while back.
Yeah.
Don't hurl, because if you honk, I'll speak.
Don't hurl. That's still, I still love these.
You, I'll blow chunks.
But how?
I shall not hurl.
But how bad has comedy gotten, though? Really? And we talk about this all the time. How bad is comedy now? Because you watch any movie now, any movie you want, it could be Wayne's World, could be Back to School, could be Revenge of the Nerds, whatever, especially Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, I love that.
Do that. Can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore.
Oh, God. I couldn't
Animal
even
House
jokes. Yeah, that too.
Animal House. It's implied that Pinto has sex with an underage girl.
Yep.
It's implied. Yeah, and like I said, can't do that anymore. They're in the middle of the football field. Besides, I haven't been honest with you. Oh yeah, what about it? I'm only 13, and he looks at her, and they cut to the next scene, and they don't say it, but it's like I said, it's implied. But he gets her drunk at a party too. DCV Titan, thank you for the $5 Canadian super chat. As long as Jordan Carlos Rufus is replaced by a snarky, no-nonsense character played by Dennis Leary. Yeah, that's what I keep saying.
That could work.
Did we come up with that? I think we came up with that like a year ago.
Hey, loser! You said it. Come on, let's go. Hey, make with the rock and roll, okay, buddy? All right, yeah.
Hey, if Dennis Leary can rip off Bill Hicks, he can rip off George Carlin.
Yep.
He goes, I'm going to go with the greasy spoon. I want to eat 2 cheeseburgers. I want French fries. Okay. I want coleslaw. And there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. So, I keep pointing to, she got herself drunk. She kept pounding those beers. Yes. Well, anyway, but she was at a party, but she was at a frat bar. If the way the law is structured, if you're at a frat party, if you're at a party, the host is responsible. The host is, the host is
Speaking of
responsible.
which, have you seen that new, I think it's a Blumhouse horror movie called Mama, about a black lady who lets local high school kids show up to the basement in her house and get drunk, and then she starts cyber stalking everybody?
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure whether it's just a creepy lady cyber stalking goes crazy movie, or like if there's a supernatural power element at some point later.
No, I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, I saw it. Seen it with a couple movies in the trailer.
Yeah. So, but like I said, you just can't. The comedy, the comedy is not the same. Why do you and I've said that this whole the whole approach to comedy recently, the sort of the nice, innocuous, the Paul Feig style comedy where you just let everybody improv has failed.
Well, it's not really innocuous, the Paul Feig comedies. I'd say they're obnoxious. But Paul Feig has a good sensibility if there's somebody there to every so often hit him on the head with the newspaper and go, no.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'd said about how, and we actually covered this a few weeks back, was that they are bringing back to Comedy Central David Spade and Crank Anchors.
Huh.
Yes, they're bringing back Crank Anchors, and how badly Comedy Central is doing if you have to bring back a 15-year-old show.
Is Adam Carolla involved with it? Because every time they've tried to reboot an Adam Carolla show without Adam Carolla, it's not done well.
Kimmel is involved.
Yes.
I think
Adam Carolla's involved. Yes.
I mean, I'm sure they're involved at a production level because it was their original radio bit that they brought over to Comedy Central to do as a show.
In the story we covered, it did say they were involved, so I don't know at what capacity, but yeah.
Chris Persia, Rob Comedy was about pushing the envelope, not conforming to popular opinion. Yeah, that's the problem. Nobody.
You're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, Mel Brooks said if you're not offended, then you're doing. Was it Mel Brooks or was it George Carlin? If you're not offended, then you're doing it wrong.
I'm pretty sure it was Mel Brooks.
Oh,
yeah.
Speaking of which, when we had all the stupid controversy about the John Wayne Playboy interview, somebody,
oh, for God's sake,
somebody drug up how Mel Brooks had actually talked to John Wayne to play the part that Gene Wilder ended up playing in Blazing Saddles. Yeah. And John Wayne turned it down. He said he loved the script. He laughed all the way through it. But it really was, something they would say today. It's really off-brand for me. My fans wouldn't like it, but I'll be one of the first people in line to go see it.
Raunchy to him for his fan base. Yeah. Well, Richard Pryor was supposed to play the lead originally.
Yeah.
But Warner Brothers wouldn't let him have him because he was too risky.
Yeah. It's like how Eddie Murphy was almost in Ghostbusters.
Well, he didn't do Ghostbusters because he did Beverly Hills Cop. That's why.
Right, but they were still writing early on.
Yeah, it was written for him, yes, and the Bill Murray part was actually written for John Belushi, of course, and Rick Moranis' part was written for John Candy, but John Candy was the one who recommended Rick Moranis for the part,
and that was a great decision.
Well, it was because John Candy kept wanting to do it with a German accent. He wanted to have 2 Doberman pinchers with him at all times and all this other weird shit. He wanted to do like a weird character. And Dan Aykroyd and them were like, and Harold Ramis and all of them were like, it's a funny character. It was great, but it's just too much for the little part. It needed its own movie, if anything. And I think he ended up doing the character in Who's Harry Crumb or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, huh?
Yeah, he's like, who you need for this part? You need Rick for it. And they went and got Rick Moranis, and the rest is history, of course.
And I actually think if Eddie Murphy had done Ghostbusters, it would have been too much.
Well, what would have happened is they would have ended up having to write Winston into the whole movie. Because at that time, Eddie was big enough that he would have had to have been one of the leads.
Yeah, but I think trying to balance Eddie Murphy and Bill Murray in that movie, I think that would have ended up being too much.
That would have been the problem. Yeah, that would have been the issue. Is Winston's character is the everyday everyman, which Eddie can do, but when you have Eddie Murphy on screen, it's Eddie Murphy. And Beverly Hills Cop that year proved that the man was a bona fide star.
Yeah,
and until Matrix Reloaded of all fucking things came out, Beverly Hills Cop was the highest grossing R-rated film of all time.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, like, if Eddie was in that movie, he would end up probably having to be like a third to 40% of the screen time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They would have had to roll Winston in since the beginning. He would have had to have been part of the group since the beginning if Eddie would have been in there.
And then
both his manager and Eddie would have probably demanded that.
And then you wouldn't get all the good stuff with Venkman and Sigourney Weaver or Dana, her character. That wouldn't have worked. It would have ruined the movie, I think.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Just like John Candy, as much as I love him, Moranis was the right choice.
And I actually think Bill Murray was the better character than Belushi would have been.
I think Belushi's Venkman would have been different, yes. Belushi's Venkman would have been...
sleazier.
No, I don't know about sleazier. I was going to say more innocent, actually.
Really?
A different kind of sleazy.
You know, the scene in Blues Brothers where Carrie Fisher's going to kill him? And he takes off the glasses and he gives her the little boy look kind of thing, the cute little boy thing.
Yeah.
I think he would have played that up a lot, and that would have been his version of Venkman. It would have been a very playful boy-like, kind of like what Bill Murray did, but Bill Murray did it with an edge.
Yeah.
And he did that
like that whole opening sequence with the ESP test. That's the difference. You wouldn't have seen something like that.
We would have done that scene, I don't think. Yeah, they would have done something different, I think. You're right.
Well, I was picturing him being like, having like 5 o'clock shadow and a cigar and being like a real creep, kind of like closer to Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, total perv.
You could have. But see, at that time, Belushi was also trying to become more, well, he died at that point. But when they were writing the character, he was really trying to become more of a leading man and do a lot of different things. So, I mean, he had a lot of movies that didn't do well, but he did a lot of different stuff. So I'd be curious. I would have been curious to see of course, I would have been curious to see what he would have done with it, but it wouldn't have been the same movie. No, it may not have even been as big because Belushi, unfortunately, was a bigger star after his death because most of the movies he was in flopped. Even most people don't even remember Blues Brothers flopped.
Oh yeah,
and my memories about Blues Brothers is my uncle Mike, who passed away. He watched that every year at Thanksgiving for some reason.
What were you going to say about Blues Brothers there? I'm sorry to hear that about your uncle.
Yeah, he got a cancer a few years back, but yeah, that was one of the family traditions. Is at Thanksgiving we'd watch the Blues Brothers at his house.
Blues Brothers held the record for the most cars destroyed during a filming of a motion picture.
Which they beat in the second film.
They probably deliberately did that.
Well, yes, they did. The scene goes on for like over 5 minutes.
That's a genre. Well, apart from Fast and Furious, I mean, the car chase genre really is.
Or like, what was that one? Bullet was another great car chase movie.
Well, that's similar to the original kind of. Fast and Furious, but the Fast and Furious became like crazy shit from what I know. I've never seen it, but
it's superheroes with fast cars now. Because like in the spin-off movie, Idris Elba's going to be a cyborg.
It's funny because I think that's what my kid said. Anyway.
Oh, for God's sake! Where do I vote? Like I saw some commercial with Idris Elba, and it's like, really? We have to put him in commercials now?
No, Captain April. We just talked about that before. You must have missed it. The Louis Tully character was originally going to be John Candy. It was written for. Belushi was actually meant to be Venkman. Bill Murray didn't get involved until way down the line when after Belushi had died, and the movie changed drastically from what it was supposed to be originally. Anyway,
and
when Dan Aykroyd wrote it, it was like a 400-page script, and the Ghostbusters had already been Ghostbusters for years. They went and they had time travel in it and all kinds of other crazy shit.
Which is weird because the Ghostbusters cartoon based off of the old Funimation show, a lot of people think stole the original script from Aykroyd to make their show out of.
That was in way years before that, though.
Well, no, but the when they made the real Ghostbusters, Funimation rushed
Yeah,
in a cheap knockoff cartoon, and a lot of people think that some of the plot lines were stolen from Aykroyd's original script that
Oh,
Funimation
that's a
had.
possibility.
Yeah,
It wasn't
and
Funimation though. It was
Filmation Ghostbusters?
Filmation is what I
Yeah.
meant to say.
yeah. Because the originally it was a live action show in the 70s, of course.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Larry
And-
Storch and Forrest.
But I
Tucker,
see what you're saying now. I see what he's saying now. He's saying that they and that's very possible that they may have gotten their hands on an early version of the script because
They originally had the rights to the name.
Exactly. Columbia had to go to them to get the rights, and they got them for a song, but that was because Filmation. I don't know if somebody had given them the inclination, or that they were just assuming that Columbia was going to give them the animation rights to the show, and then they turned around and gave it to Deke.
Yeah,
and that's in return. Then in retaliation, that's when Filmation beat the Ghostbusters to TV with their animated version of their '70s show, which was a sequel actually to the '70s show. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Bill Murray actually, as part of his contract for doing Ghostbusters, Columbia had to make a movie for him. It was a weird coming of age World War II melodrama movie.
At the Razor's Edge.
Yep.
Razor's Edge. Yeah.
Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
Actually, which is a remake, actually, but yeah.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed that movie immensely.
Yeah, and then I just found out recently that a couple years back, Bill Murray no longer has his stake in Ghostbusters anymore.
I think he did back in 2016. They may have bought him out.
I was gonna say it was either recently or not too long ago, but it was. I was reading something about that Bill no longer has his say or rights in anything, because that was the whole problem for years and years and years that held everything up. What most people probably know, but for those who don't know, was one of the big major hurdles was Bill Murray got paid no matter if he was in the movie or not. So he didn't have to be in the movie. So he kept stringing them along forever on that. And they weren't going to make a movie without him if they had to pay him, basically.
Yeah. And I remember from the Sony hack that they were threatening to sue Bill over that angle when he wasn't wanting to do the promotions and stuff. So
and it might even have been Ivan Reitman or Dan Aykroyd who said that recently, that Bill Murray no longer has his stake in the Ghostbusters.
You know, Dan's selling a lot of vodka to make sure that this new Ghostbusters ends up working out.
Well, outside of the younger side of the new recruits thing, I have no issues with them. I think it's in the right hands. I'm optimistic. Of course, I'm leery. Like some people are, like, why do we have kids in this? This is weird.
Well,
but I guess, aren't they going for more teenage age kids from what the more recent casting?
Yeah,
So.
but
I think they were like 12.
But my whole thoughts about this were kind of influenced by the new King Arthur movie starring a bunch of British school kids. Most children are terrible actors. And most children who are good actors end up becoming bad actors once they're adults and they get into their adult bodies. So I'm not sure you want to really invest in teenagers and, roll your dice and hope that they end up being as good as like Daniel Radcliffe and all the Harry Potter kids. That'd be my thoughts on that.
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to find that story about the casting.
Okay. I just was confused about the dead air for a second.
No, the last time I saw it was they were auditioning like a 12-year-old girl for like a Sheldon sort of part.
Well, there is that one part, yeah, but I thought the new recent casting called for older kids, like teenage age kids.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard that one yet.
So they're probably going to have a varied age of kids, perhaps, because it may be a generational thing where maybe even kids of the original Ghostbusters, which then I won't be so upset. But if they just bring in random kids for no good fucking reason, that's going to be weird. But again, I'll be optimistic and see what they do, And I trust Jason Reitman. I don't really particularly like all his movies, but I can't say they're bad movies that I've seen. So
I'm very fond of several of his movies. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm fond of him. Is my favorite though. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had an idea that I'd do for a Ghostbusters movie where it ends up being framed around a reality show, because the Ghostbusters Museum is doing horribly and Dan Aykroyd's character is going through a nervous breakdown that his one thing in life is crumbling around him. And so Winston, and who's become like a rich guy, and Bill Murray's character, who's a sleazy, celebrity person, say, let's do a Ghostbusters reality show. That would have been my idea for an all-female Ghostbusters team.
See, that would have been interesting.
And Bill Murray's one is like a tall, statuesque Eastern European woman. And like when the cameras are off after the first shot, everybody's like making fun of her. And she says, I have a PhD from Oxford in Slavonic folklore. And she just walks out of the room.
Oh, here's a good question.
That would have been a fun little bit.
Patrick Ollinger has a question for me, but you all can answer it. Who is your favorite 80s bully character? That's a very good question. I would normally say Johnny from Karate Kid, but he's a redeemed character, and he's not really a bully at heart, I don't think. So I'm gonna pick Biff. Biff is probably
he's so
the ultimate bully, because even when he's pretending to kiss ass, he's still Biff.
What about what's his face, who is the president of the Alphas in the first Revenge of the Nerds movie?
Ted McGinley?
Yeah.
Ted McGinley's character, where Ted McGinley
He redeems himself in part 3.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I have a hard time picking a bully who redeems himself in some way. Biff never fucking redeems himself, and not only that, he screws up time altogether.
Yeah.
So Biff wins.
Captain Harris. What about Captain Harris?
If you want to consider him a bully, yeah. I was thinking it's like, high school bullies. I was going to say also probably a shout out to what's his face from Weird Science.
Oh yeah, or the one from the Goonies. What was the guy's name?
No. Ed Begley was Real Genius. Weird Science was the one with the tough brother character.
Oh yeah, what was the brother?
Face who just died. God damn it.
Oh, Chet. Bill
Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Paxton. Although Real Genius, I think, is an underappreciated movie.
Yes.
And I think it's the movie that Val Kilmer seems the least obnoxious in.
It's probably one of his more overlooked movies for sure. Yeah, but between that and what's the Top Secret? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I didn't mind Top Secret.
By who made that? Farrelly Brothers, was it, or was it?
That was Zucker, Abrams, and
Zucker.
Yeah, it was an airplane.
Zucker.
Yeah, Zucker. Yeah. I haven't seen that in so long. Oh, I remember that one as a kid. I love that.
I'm actually going to be watching that for my podcast with Jim.
I actually don't mind Val Kilmer. He's just gotten to the point where in the latter part of his career, he started doing the Nicolas Cage thing where he'd say yes to any movie that anybody asked him to be in.
Yes, but unlike Nicolas Cage, he didn't have a good reason. Nicolas Cage is required by the IRS to say everything. Yeah. But every so often he says yes to something really weird and interesting like Mandy.
Yeah. Well, he's still bankable star. He's going to get the good movies once in a while. It's Nicolas Cage, but I understand why he's doing it. I'm not picking on him or nothing. It's dude should have paid his fucking taxes, man.
But here's something interesting. What if there's a movie that has Nicolas Cage and Matthew McConaughey both playing that sort of weird, out of their mind person? You think there's
the audience's mind?
I think
Nicolas Cage is the hero, and you have McConaughey as a villain. Yeah, I think that'd be cool in some way, shape, or form.
And you just tell them, chew up as much of the scenery as you possibly can.
Yeah, I'd be for that. That sounds like a movie.
Oh, did any of you guys see Serenity with McConaughey?
No.
It was a really disturbing movie when you get right down to it, but they had a twist in it that was completely obvious if you'd ever played video games. And he played, a drunk, burned out fisherman, former war veteran who's escaped from his past, but his past came to find him. And then, you actually find out what the whole movie's about. And it was just really weird.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. That wasn't the one I was thinking it was. But, no, I know in some alternate universe somewhere, Nicolas Cage played Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolate.
Oh,
You never know what you're gonna get.
Speaking of Real Genius is on actually in a couple minutes on BBC America.
So is that your way? We got to wrap this up.
No, well, I'm just programming note out there. So set your DVR.
There you go. That works.
BBC America is a great place to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation as well. So
I wish we had a channel for British shows, though, man.
They have some British shows on there, but
I can see more on YouTube. To be honest, I can see more.
It's mostly original programming now.
Yeah,
original programming, Doctor Who, and classic Top Gear.
Yep.
Even though they've scaled back immensely on the on old Top Gear,
because they don't want to give the guys any more money.
No. They were, and Gary over at Nerdrotic he's a big fan of Top Gear too. He pretty much agrees with me that they were just looking for an excuse to fire Jeremy Clarkson.
But again, they should have known that the other two guys were going to stick with him.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You don't fire Jeremy unless you had everybody else on board with him being fired. That was stupid of the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Amazon Prime and I haven't watched Grand Prix yet. I need to do that.
Oh, Grand Tour! It's the exact same show. It's the exact same show.
I know. That's why I want to watch it because that was a great show.
It was.
Steven Anderson has a good question for us. Do you think Rocket Man can repeat the success of Bohemian Rhapsody, or do for Elton John's legacy what happened to Queen lately?
So, who wants to play a bisexual musician to get an Oscar?
What's his face?
Eggert, whatever.
No, it's
Rami Malek.
Oh no, the dude playing Elton John. What's his name?
Oh yeah, it's Taron Eggert. No.
Yes, there it is. I think that's it.
Was he the kid from Kingsman?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird because he was in a movie where Elton John was a cameo / supporting actor.
My problem with it is the trailers don't look all that bad per se. He does not convince me at all, even remotely. And I said the same thing about Rami Malek, but he does not look or sound or anything like Elton John, which wouldn't be a big deal, whatever. But it sounds like he's doing the singing. They aren't using Elton John like they did Freddie Mercury for the Queen movie. I don't know how well that's going to bowl over.
I mean, remember when Michael Douglas did Liberace for that HBO movie? He completely killed at that.
Well, there's times that you can. There have been instances like Val Kilmer was able to blend perfectly with, original recordings, and they did both, like a mix of both in the Doors, know. And they did very, very, very little with Rami Malek and that and Freddie. Most, like 99% of what you hear in Bohemian Rhapsody singing is Freddie Mercury.
But for me, I'm just kind of bored of the rock and roll biopic. The formula. The formula is just so obvious.
Well, the thing about this movie is it looks like they're going to mix a lot of fantasy elements in it because it's his story the way it should be told is where they or whatever they have the tagline. So I have a feeling it's going to be like one big, huge Elton John music video kind of thing, which some people said that's what Bohemian Rhapsody felt like was a greatest hits music video for Queen.
Hold up.
Which I disagree in some ways, but anyway.
Red Dwarf's last season was back to form. More coming. Like, where's the new seasons of Red Dwarf at?
And thank you for the $2, C. Kruger. That is appreciated as always.
Last I heard, the new season of Red Dwarf, you can look at them on Amazon, maybe.
I'll check that out. I need reasons to justify my having Amazon Prime.
All right.
Also, there's the Hulk Hogan movie coming up with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, we were talking about that on one of our last shows, I think it was.
I don't. My only problem with that is how are they going to break up Hulk Hogan's life into something digestible, be a single coherent movie, or like are they just going to cut one era of Hulk Hogan's life?
I don't know.
I think it's supposed to cover. It's an origin story. They said so. I think it's just going to cover the early years. They said. I think they said it explicitly in the. Press release or what? But yeah,
like he's starting in wrestling up until like WrestleMania 1,
Probably.
I guess.
They said they're not going to cover any of the later years or nothing.
All right.
Hmm.
All right. Well, anyway.
Yeah, I think it's time we.
Yeah, we've extended
clocking in
this
at
a little bit.
1:35. Yeah.
That's good. Good time to shut her down, I think. What do you got? That?
Yeah. So anyway, I'd like to thank Larry Wilk coming from the Wilk Report.
Larry Bernard coming from the Wilk Report.
Or Larry Bernard Wilk. How about
Every time.
Damn it.
You can also check me out at Recording in Progress, or on Twitter or Facebook, or anywhere popular social media products are sold.
Yes. So yes. So let's one more time. Hey, the audience likes you. Round of applause for Larry. So if you like what we do here, and why wouldn't you? Honestly, we're not sure why either.
Has anybody checked on Jake lately?
Not it.
Oh, Larry, you just came on a bad night.
So,
you better hope Melman's not hungry.
Well, yeah. Melman's still hibernating. Melman doesn't wake up for another couple weeks.
That's why we forgot all about Jake. Damn it, it's winter.
Yeah.
I hope Jake's okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's okay. So
we'll
anyway,
have to try and have Jake on soon. It's been a while.
Yeah. It's been a while. Like I said, if you like what we do, click like, subscribe, and the bell icon. If you don't like what we do, click like, subscribe, and bell icon anyway. And you can, if you head over to the main channel, click like, subscribe over there, and a bell icon over there. That way you're notified of all the latest stuff that's uploaded. And if you really, really, really like us, then head over to Patreon. Patreon supporters get all kinds of bonuses, bloopers, outtakes, lost episodes, behind the edge making videos, my 10-minute stand-up set, and more. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. If you don't have the means to support us through Patreon, please like, subscribe, share, because we cannot do this without you. Mecca, tell them about yourself.
I am Mecha Random 42. I'm your favorite YouTube harpy, and I complain about Star Trek, Brie Larson, all the things. And I have Patreon, Twitter, all the stuff.
All right.
Yes.
And we want to thank our special guest, Larry's cat.
But we do actually.
I got to thank Ricky Poole for reminding me we had to thank him.
Yes, I do actually. We have to one more thing before we go. It is actually today is a very significant day. Today would have been George Harrison's birthday.
Oh, that's right.
So happy birthday, George. George was a beautiful soul. He really was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So
it wasn't for him.
Happy birthday,
probably
George.
Wouldn't have had, speaking of stuff, he was a big movie fan. If it wasn't for him, didn't he produce Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yeah, he helped them get that movie.
Life of Brian too.
Life of Brian. Yep. Life of Brian. Handmade films. Actually, one of his films won a BAFTA, I believe. Mona Lisa. Yes. Who can forget? From.
Now we're
loud. Yep. From Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, that's as much as we could play.
He's so fine. Sorry, wrong song.
That's as much as we could play.
He did. Did he have to pay in the lawsuit?
Yeah, I think she has a writing credit, or whoever it was that wrote that original song now has a writing credit on it.
Yeah. So George Harrison would have been 75.
And
yes.
A fun fact: there's 2 surviving Beatles and 2 surviving Monkeys. That's an opportunity for a supergroup.
Where's the
4 survivors?
Coincidence? Dun dun dun.
Now, have we decided what we're calling ourselves? Yeah, it's the Bunkies. Oh, it's gonna be the Beatles. I vote for Bunkies. I said Beatles.
The Munkles.
Who said Munkles? We're not fucking doing Munkles. Sounds like uncles. I ain't doing it. No.
So here's the question though. So the two surviving members of the Beatles are we have 2 drummers basically.
Well,
so
no.
I guess would Mickey come up and sing probably.
Well, I think Ringo would get singled out.
Ringo would still be the drummer.
Okay, and Mickey would probably come up and sing. Paul on bass, of course, and then Mark on guitar. Okay, that works. That works.
Yeah.
The Bunkles. I think the Bunkles gets it. No,
Okay.
we're doing the vocals.
All right. All right, everybody. Thanks
we
for joining us, everybody. Thank you for the super chats.
Thank you, Larry's Kitty.
Thank you, Larry's Kitty. Thank you. Thank you, asshole. Thank you, Zabu. Good night, John Boy.
I think Asshole's sleeping. I haven't seen him in a while. He got his supper, so he went to bed, I think.
So, yeah, time to say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.
Why?